In this live Q&A session, I was joined by Terry Shiundu, the Director Talent Management at Village Enterprise, and we answered a range of questions from where do you see yourself in 5 years to how do you answer the question about salary in an interview? How do you follow up with the interviewers to get feedback? And also where and how you can research a company when you're invited for an interview. So we cover a range of so many questions. I would like to invite you to listen in this live broadcast. And before we get in, ensure that you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and press that bell button so that you can get to know each and every time we produce such valuable information for you to grow in your career. Let's get started.
For somebody who can do what needs to be done because they didn't get somebody internally. So you need to be able to share what value you bring on board, why it's important for them to hire you and not any other candidate. And those really are the candidates that outshine everybody else. If you can say your value, the value that you bring. We have many accountants. We have many HR professionals. We have many administration professionals. But what will make you stand out above all the others? Say an organization like an NGO is looking for an accountant. Do you have, so for most NGOs, they deal with donor funding. Do you have experience with grant management? That is what may make you stand out above all the others who are, yes, accounting professionals. They understand, to do the books of accounts, but the fact that you have experience handling donors and managing the different USAID funding, for example, DFID funding, for example, that is what will make you stand out. So it's important to find out or to have that value proposition as you come for that interview or as you write your cover letter. And that also brings me to add on to what Daniel talked about, the cover letter. You cannot use one cover letter for every job that you apply to. One of the main issues I have had with many job applications that people send for positions that, we have posted is the same cover letter that they send for, say, M&E manager is the same cover letter they will send for impact creation lead, is the same cover letter the same person sends for an IT coordinator. Same cover letter, no change. And I will get to notice because I am the recruiter. So it's important that you tailor your cover letter to the job description or to what is being looked for. Then that makes you stand out. Really, if Alice is applying for this job, what makes Alice different from this other candidate that is applying for the same job? I will look for it in that cover letter. Sometimes, by the way, most of us or most recruiters, we really not look at your CV. That's why a cover letter is important for you to highlight what your strengths are in that cover letter and the value that you bring to the job. Because some of them will not look at the CV that you've put forward. Because again, that's one document that most job applicants send the same standard CV for every position, okay? So you don't bring out any key thing, you don't bring out strengths in it. And so it's important to look at what value am I bringing to this organization? Understand its mission, its vision, its main core business. Understand the core business of that organization. And more often than not, it could be your experience, your usual experience from an organization, maybe not what will stand out, may not be what stands out, but your side hustle could be what stands out for that role because of the mission and the vision. Maybe you volunteered in a children's home, and it's an organization that works with children, but you've been working in Kenya Airways, for example. So the volunteering in that children's home may be what gets you the job and not your experience in the bank or at Kenya Airways. So it's important to look at the value that you bring in comparison or being cognizant of what the mission and the vision of that organization is for the one where you're applying the job. Yeah, so let me, if there is any questions, maybe I can hand over back to Daniel and we'll keep the discussion going as we respond to the questions. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think I have some of the questions that I want to respond to. First of all, Edna asked that she would like to know what are some of the organizations that are hiring now and those which are not. Okay, so what I would say, right now there's some organizations that are still hiring. If you go to our website, we do post some of the latest jobs. So if I can check right now through our website is careerpoint.co.ke. I can see there are some jobs which have been posted from Maisha Meds. There are some position for Bomet County government. The other day, a massive number of jobs was advertised by Public Service for Nairobi Metropolitan Services. And there are so many jobs that are being posted out there. I think also when I check on the Facebook group where Terry is the admin, she also posts a lot of jobs that are available. I think yesterday I was checking and I could see some jobs from World Vision, from, doctors, they're called like MSF, yeah, something of that sort. So I might not be in a position to tell you all the jobs that are available right now, but if you want to get to be up to date, sign up for a job board. Most of them are usually free. Just subscribe and they will be giving you updates. From our website, you'll be getting free job updates every time we upload. Join groups that are there that give people this information, both on Facebook and WhatsApp. I think there's one that is called Career Growth. There's another one called Jobs in Kenya, and they keep on posting. So it is always important for you to keep on looking out there for any available position. Secondly, I can see here Edna's another question. Please, as I'm seeing more people are joining us in this conversation, please take your time, just write in the chat any question that you might have when it comes to job search and placement and career progression. We'll be here to answer. So Edna is asking, I train high school students on how to get, on how they can choose careers. One thing they always ask is which employer provide job opportunities for high school students. Now, no, I've not yet seen any company that goes out there and advertise for position for high school students. But I can assure you, some organization, they have that opportunity where they can bring in high school students for them to get work experience. I have been privileged to work in an international school whereby the students who are around Form 2, Form 3, almost doing getting Form 4, they have a whole week where they do work experience. And this is just an opportunity for them to go to different companies in areas that they feel that they can be useful in. And this is something that is just organized by parents and the teachers. So you might not clearly find job advertised for high school students, but it is up to the parent, it is up to the student to show the interest, go talk to people in different organizations. It might not be a paying job, but I think what is more valuable in that case is getting that experience. It is being in a position to be in that workplace and see probably, is this what I really want to be getting when I'm in this kind of a career? So yes, go out there, search, talk to companies. If you know an owner, you know a director somewhere, it's just a matter of leveraging your connections. And I have been also at Careerpoint Solutions. Someone approached me, and I gave, I think, an internship for one of it was a sibling. Not that I had that opportunity open, but because it was asked, and again, it is a helping hand. It is not costing any me in terms of payroll, but I'm just giving someone an opportunity to grow. Why not? So it's up to you to go out there and ask for it. Yeah. So I think those are the two main questions that had come in. I would welcome to see more. Yes, there's one here. I don't know, you're able to see the question, Terry? There's one, all these are coming in, I think, in public, yeah? So how do you respond to the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? How do you respond to the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Terry.
Interesting. One of the things I did a few years ago, I had the opportunity to have like a career coach or a mentor. They're very deep coach. Let me call her coach. And she helped me come up with a goal plan. And one of the things that was there was I wanted to open my own business. I wanted to at least have skills that could put me out there as an individual besides my regular job. And I wanted to work with an international NGO. So one of the things that I remember going into an interview at that time for an NGO job, an international NGO job. And when I was asked that question, that's exactly what I said, that one of my goals is to get into an international organization that gives me an opportunity to work across countries. It gives me opportunity to learn different cultures. It gives me opportunity to learn different employment laws in different countries, and also to interact with other people. So, and I can say that I actually got that job, not because I had experience for NGO. It was my first international NGO job, but I got it because that was my interest, and I was very clear with it. So I think one of the things I would say that I give as advice is have a goal, an action plan. When most people ask this question, they go blank because they haven't actually sat to think about it. Where do I want to be? I may not necessarily have a job right now, but what do I want to do in the next 1 year? It could be go back to school. It could be learn as simple as learn 2 online courses or 3 online courses in this year. So if that is what you desire to do, put together a plan, short term could be 2 to 3 years, mid-term 5 years, or even long-term 10 years. But put it in writing. When you have that vision board or that goal, action that you've put together, then it helps you. And so when you're faced with that question, you're not thinking out of, you're not blank, but you're actually very clear with what you're looking for. And that's why, again, it's important to look for a job that is in line with your goals and not just any job. Most of us apply to any job because we are desperate, but look at the organization and just check against your plan. Is this leading me towards my action plan or my goals that I have put down? So have that action plan put together, and then when you ask that question, you can easily respond. Yeah. Because your 5-year goal might be different from my 5-year goal. So what I had last 2 years ago is not what I'm thinking now, because you keep, looking at it and reviewing as time goes on. So it's important to put that down. Then it helps you in your job search. I wanted to add on, you can add on that, Daniel. Yes, but I wanted to add on just quickly. Yes. The high school students, helping employers provide opportunities. Another place to look for opportunities is local NGOs. If you are in touch with some of them, you can reach out to some of them, a local NGO, a children's home, small organizations that don't have big funding, lots of money. They would really be happy to get, students to train, as well as these students are adding value as well to their work. So yeah, those are other places to look for. Children's homes, organizations that deal with, local communities, CBOs. That's another place to look for opportunities for high school students, as well as college students. Yeah.
Okay, good. So I think just to add up on the first question about where do you see yourself in 5 years, I have come to see and I've learned every successful person, most successful people have goals and they have a path or a plan on how they can be able to get there. So that question mainly first tries to see, do you have a plan, or are you just here just looking for a job for the purposes of getting a job? Secondly, if you can be able to show, or your answer to include that you see yourself probably together with them, and at the same time having grown. I'm coming in as an assistant HR manager, but if you can say, I see myself probably working with you with at a higher position as the hiring manager or something of that sort. And showing that you're not just using them as a stepping stone to go somewhere else. Because I had an experience where a friend of mine went for an interview. They were asked, if we give you this job and within the same company, there's another opening in another branch, would you still apply for it? The gentleman said yes. And I think that is where he lost his job, because he shows that he's not committed to them. He's just looking for another better opportunity. But if he could have coined the answer and say, I think that would be too soon. I would want still to be here to see what are the opportunities to maybe streamline the processes here and make sure that I achieve my goal in terms of moving this company from here to there. So that shows that you're really interested and have great enthusiasm for that job and to perform a certain task that will be beneficial for the employer. So I think that is very important for you also to think through when you're answering that question. I can see more questions coming in, and also more people are coming here. So I will just read them here. Jerry is asking, how, I think that is the question that we have just answered. Alice, what is the reason HR issue a regret without a reason why someone did not qualify? Why do HR? I think, Terry, you're one of the HRs. Do you just send the regrets without telling them why you are not qualified? As you think about that, let me just read most of these questions, then we can answer them as we proceed. I would love to start an HR firm. This is Sylvia. I'm currently working in the HR department in a manufacturing firm with 3 years experience. Kindly, what are the prerequisites? Please advise. I think I can take on that. Then comment from Jerry. I didn't get that job because the response I gave made me seem like I was using the organization as a stepping stone. How do I respond to them? Oh, I think I've just answered that. Yeah, when you answer the question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And it looks like you're just here to move on to the next part, and that will come clearly. Edna is saying, that's Terry, okay. What are your strengths and weaknesses? I think that is a question that is asked in the interview. Jerry is asking, how do we answer that? And then, yeah, that is thanks, Terry. Yeah. I think those 2 questions. I will take the one for strengths and weaknesses. You can add. Tell us, why do HR just send regrets without telling the guys why they are not qualified?
First of all, sometimes it's just a standard template that is in the system.
Yes.
You know, that they just sent out to all who did not qualify once they do shortlisting.
Yes.
That's for one. But for those you have undergone an interview and then you receive a regret. In big organizations, I have noted actually no reason is given because they probably interviewed a number of people, and again, it's a standard template that they will use for all those that attended interview and did not qualify. You just get a regret.
Yeah.
But what I advise, and I have had several people come back to me and ask, could you maybe help me understand why I didn't get that job? And I have taken time to respond. Normally for me, I take time, especially with the feedback of the panelists, to respond to those that we interviewed, because mostly it would be 3 to 5 candidates. So we can take the time to respond and let them know exactly what did not get them the job or to the next level. So it's good to ask, follow up with the recruiter. Could you let me know why, what areas I need to work on so that I may stand out next time, or I may get it. And it could be a very small thing. I remember one time we were having interviews, and this lady came in not dressed so appropriately. She just walked lazily into the room.
Yeah.
And I mean, she showed no interest at all in the job. As much as her CV was good, and that's why she was shortlisted for a face-to-face interview, outrightly, the panel was put off by the way she came or she approached the interview. So for that one, I will call and give her feedback. I may not write it, but I will call and give her feedback and let her know next time you're called for an interview, the way you approach the panel is important. You know, it would outrightly put the panel off. The way you approach them, the way you're dressed, the way you talk. There's one gentleman who were interviewing, and he was all the time he was leaning back like this on his seat, you know, like he's the boss, and he really showed no interest. So some of these mannerisms will get you out of the room faster than you speak. So yeah, it's important to follow up. That's what I wanted to say. If you don't get it, it could be just a standard template. So follow up with the recruiter and just find out what things you can work on.
I really like that response, because as a matter of fact, the employer, the HR, is not obligated to give you feedback. Actually, it is a courtesy call even receiving that email telling you regret you didn't get the job. Most of the jobs that you will apply for, you will not even get that regret. But once you get that regret, it is up to you to show the interest and actually get in touch with us. Specifically, in my case, I understand I didn't get the job. It's okay, but I want to improve next time I go for an interview. What would you advise? What really made me not get this job? And that feedback will be gold in your next interview. So it's up to you to think about it and ask when you get that regret. There was a question about how do you answer the question, tell us about, no, not tell us about it. It was weaknesses and strength. So what I've come to learn, when you ask what are your strengths, that is a very easy question. People talk about they're able to do this and that. But your strength, of course, should be something, but it's directly related to that job that you are applying for. It would be good if you're applying for example, customer care service, and one of your strengths is that you're really good with people, you know how to deal with people, talk about it. It wouldn't make any sense to talk about a strength that is not very related to the position. But when it comes to weaknesses, I think the most important thing when you're answering, tell us about your weakness. Be very open. And number one, don't lie. Don't say I don't have a weakness. Of course, that is a lie, and that will kick you out. Talk about a weakness that is real, that is very natural to human being, and don't just stop there, because you will get someone who say, one of my weaknesses is that I'm very shy, and you stop at that. You don't, that does not present a very good picture. Talk about the weakness, and the next statement should be, what are you doing about it to work on it? So one of my weaknesses is that I am short-tempered, but I've tried to see how I can be able to deal with people with more grace and reduce my temper, or I've learned about anger management. I'm in this group, I'm in this association, I'm trying to manage this, I'm reading this book. So it's not a matter of this is my weakness, deal with it. This is my weakness, but this is what I'm doing about it. Number two, there's this advice that you are supposed to talk about a good weakness. That my weakness is that I'm very hardworking. So when you hire me, so the perception is when you hire me, I'll be working day in, day out. Yeah. HRs have received the same response so many times, so they will just see through that. That is like a white lie. So it is important to be honest. Talk about a weakness. Again, not a weakness that it will directly affect how you work. With the first example of given, like you're applying for a customer service job, and one of your weaknesses is that you are short-tempered. Of course, that is a weakness that is directly affecting how you are working. So you shouldn't go that way. Talk about the weakness and what you're doing about it, and how that weakness will not stop you from doing your duties for that position. I think that would be my take. I don't know, you have anything to add, Terry, as I go through some of the questions? Yes.
No, I think you responded to it well. All of us have something that really is a weakness that we are all working on. Yes. So be open to say it, but also share what you're doing to deal with that weakness. Because the moment you join the employer, they will begin to notice those weaknesses. So the earlier you bring it out, the better. Maybe you're the kind of person who piles work. You know, you don't know how to say no. You keep accepting, you know, all the work that you're given, falling back on deadlines. So it's important to really be open, but also say what you're working on. There's also a question that is common. What would your boss say about you? So really, that's an opportunity to also bring out that weakness, the positive side, but also the weakness that they probably have talked about that you are dealing with and you're working on. Then that gives you opportunity really to be open, and they know what they are getting when they hire you. Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. I can see more questions coming in. There's one called as what? I think this was a private question he asked. What are the very basic things to consider when seeking an entry-level job? First job without relevant experience. Think about that, Terry. I can see also another question here from Edna.
Repeat that. Sorry. Could you say it again?
What are the very basic things to consider when seeking an entry-level job? So first job without relevant experience. What do you consider? I can see it asking, how can a candidate conduct research on the company before the interview? I think that is very important. It is said you need to do research, but they don't really say what you need to research on. I think I can also go through with that. I can see a good discussion, Terry, especially on interview feedback. Thank you, Dorcas, for your feedback. I can see Jerry coming in again and say, how to adequately respond to the question. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what is your salary expectation when the salary has not been quoted. I think I can also take a hand on that and you can assist me. Esther is asking, good discussion, Terry and Daniel. In such as may, what wants to get feedback on why you may not be necessarily gotten the job. The email received would have already indicated that do not reply. How do you handle this? So when you get that response on feedback, they regret, but they indicate that do not reply to that email. How do you go about it? We will go through those, I think 3 questions, and then we can be able to proceed. So for an entry-level job, how would you advise someone to?
So package yourself with your talents, gifts and talent. What are your strengths? When you went to university, it's probably a course that you are interested in doing that course. So what volunteer opportunities did you have while you were in university? Where did you do, say, for example, your internship? What are the skills you gained there? For example, working with people. Another thing is maybe you've done data entry. Maybe you've done some, typing or research online. So package yourself according to the job requirements of that entry level job based on your skills or talents or the gifts that you have, that are inbuilt. Maybe you're very good at researching online, and that might be what they're looking for. So just look at what you have done, the clubs that you are involved in high school, or the leadership positions that you are involved in high school that makes you different. That means you can actually lead a team. That means you have skills of, good interpersonal skills. You have, good communication skills. If you had any leadership positions, maybe you were a secretary in a club. So look at the things that you did, whether in high school or in university, the opportunities you had to participate in, and bring those out. Those are the things that can get you into that entry-level job. Yeah.
I think I really like that. It is about what is it that you can do for the company. And not only work experience can give you that leverage. It is what value are you bringing in? What were you engaged in school? Some leadership skills, you organized a certain forum, you were in a certain project. How you package yourself in terms of the value that you're bringing in. And also recognize that employers also appreciate there are some entry-level jobs that someone will come in without much from the work experience. Each and everyone who is working right now at some point got in at an entry level. So once you understand that there are those opportunities. Then package yourself in terms of value, what you bring in. I will look at, there's a question about when you're told to research about the company, what do you really research about? I think number one, the reason why you need to research is to be able to align your response during an interview with that company, to try and show how you are the best fit for that company. So you need to at least to know what company, which industry are they in, what are the products and services that they offer into the market, and based on your position, of course, they have a mission and a vision. So based on your position, you might be getting in as an accountant, as a HR, as the IT person, but how are you helping that organization achieve their mission, achieve the vision that they have set out there? So these are some of the things that you need to be researching on. Another thing that people forget to research about is, like, you have been invited for an interview. You don't think through where is this company located, or you just search the Google Maps and feel like, I already know this place. And on that morning, because that is not mainly your route, you end up getting there late because you thought, I know this place, I'll go board Matatu number 50, whatever it is, only to find that that road is really packed. There's a lot of jam. So part of your research, it will be good for you to actually go and take a physical trip, if it is possible, to that place early enough for you to see the place. But the main thing is to understand what are they in the market for, and how can you align yourself, your position, helping them achieve that mission or vision. And also at the entry level point, if you can be able also to do your research and to know that this is what they are looking for, you can say, I was involved with this project while I was in campus, and I feel it is a great fit for me to assist you to do this and this. And sometimes quoting your research in a very subtle way in an interview, you're just telling the interviewers that you did your research. I saw you you started getting into this market. You're trying to get this market share. I believe I can be able to assist you to do this and this based on my experience, based on this. So those are some of the things that you might decide to think about when you're researching about. Oh, there was a question about Sylvia. How do you get into starting a HR firm? Let me just talk about it. Now, first, when you're trying to create a firm or a consultancy firm, you need to understand what makes you different, or what value are you bringing differently into the market. Because right now, there are so many firms, HR firms, not that we have any shortage of that. But what is your unique selling proposition, such that when you come into the market, there's a certain value that you're bringing. So once you're able to differentiate yourself with any other other HR firm, that will be the starting point. Of course, there is that whole process of registering a business, ensuring that it is limited liability, then putting up structures, start looking for clients, doing marketing, and actually supporting the clients that you already have. It is a long learning curve, but I would say, yeah, start by identifying what will make you different, what you are going to bring on board. And if you try it out, before even you decide to register, if you just try it out, talk to people, try and see, can I be able to assist someone? Because one of the key things in business, because I'm in business, that put people apart is when you can be able to deliver value in advance, even before you get paid. So there's that period when you are trying things out, try to see that unique selling proposition, assist someone, volunteer, try it out. If it works, if it is bringing the wow effect, then go ahead, register the company and start putting in the structures in place, because business is about structures and system that can easily be repeated, and it can work even without you. So that is what I would advise. I think that is a question we had skipped. There was a question. Tell us about yourself and salary expectation. That is from Jerry. Then, is there any other question? Feedback about when you're told what not to reply. You would want to say something about, tell us about yourself, or the salary expectation question?
Yeah, it's a question that most it's always avoid when they are asked what their salary is. But I'll tie it in with researching about a company. just to add on what you said, one of the places I always do my research about organizations or companies is Glassdoor.
Sorry, we are losing you. I don't know if it is everyone else or it's only me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I think now I can get you.
Okay, sorry. I hope my input only lists different companies, but provides reviews for different companies and organizations. And these are reviews from past and present employees. So on Glassdoor, you will also find projections looking for a job at if you've applied for a job at at a certain company, look for it. Probably search for it based on the salaries that are offered, or the salary they offer from that company. You know, what are the benefits? You will find them listed on Glassdoor. Information about salaries, you'll get information about the benefits, you will get information about the culture and the management. You know, that tells you there are actually places I have been invited for interviews, and I went, yes, but I knew I wouldn't join the company. Why? Because I had read the review on Glassdoor, especially the review about the management. That tells you outrightly that that's not a place to work, because you will not be able to stay because of the reviews that employees have put on Glassdoor. So it's a very good site if you want to get information. So if you're asked about salary, mostly I say give a range. Look at your past or your current salary if you're employed, and then ask yourself, what would make me take this job? You know, other than desiring to work in that organization. Will it be a 30% increment on my current salary? Will I be willing to take a pay cut? I remember I had told you a story about my getting into an international NGO. One of the things that happened, because it was one of my goals, I actually took a salary cut. So I took about a 30% less salary on what I was earning, because it was my goal to get into the NGO. So I did not mind getting less, because I was getting into what I really wanted. So I got less pay, but I got better benefits, and within a few months, our salaries had increased far above what I was previously earning in the job that I had left. So that's why it's important also to have a goal, because that sort of directs you and helps you see what to take and not what, and what to leave out. Again, when you ask about yourself, talk about your current, you can talk about your current job, what you're doing, what value you have brought. If, for example, it's a sales job, what value have you brought to the organization that you're currently working in? What difference have you made in your role? As you talk about one of the things I talk about is that I am married, I have a family, so that as I get into that job, they know that there are certain limits I have around me that I cannot go beyond, because I have a family. I am married and have a family. So it's important to be open. Talk about your career. Really, I don't talk about high school anymore. You know, it depends on the role. But if it's an entry level, you can talk about high school. If it's a more senior position, you don't need to talk about, you know, your high school grades, as most candidates do, and what you got in high school. You don't need to talk about that. But talk about your hobbies, the things you're currently doing. You can talk about your family, and yeah, I think Daniel will add more. Yeah. And whether you're studying, be open about that as well. If you're currently doing a degree course or you're currently in school, talk about that as well. So that's all in the introduction. When you're asked, tell us about yourself, you can give as much information as possible in that 2 or 3 minutes you've been given, from about your strengths, what you like, what you don't like, what your current situation is in terms of school, or whether you're working or not. Yeah. And then Daniel will add on that, but let me just talk about the do not reply all.
Yes.
The most important thing when you go to an interview, listen very keenly to the panel of interviewers. So get their names. And if the HR is there, get her name. You can actually get their email address. So I have done that, and it has helped me. So I think it's something that's helpful. Get the names of the interview panel, and that's why we always say send a thank you note after the interview. So if you are able to send a thank you note and you get a regret, you can actually send to one of those people or the HR and ask if there's any specific feedback about your interview and what you can work on. So yeah, just in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I think you have really tackled well. I can start with the issue of negotiating salary, because this is one of the questions that the interviewee, this is the number one question they have in their head. And unfortunately, when it comes out, most of the time, I've seen most of the people either get blank and they don't know really what to say. So I would start by saying this. You should understand that this is a business and you're providing them with value as a service, and they need to compensate you. So there is nothing, you shouldn't feel shy talking about salary. There's nothing wrong about discussing the salary. As long as you wait that question to come from the, interviewers, it should not start from you. Secondly, at the back of your mind, there is a very specific figure that you have. If you do your math, you're like, my life expenses right now, if I take the rent, I take my commute, I take everything, this is what they amount for. So if it amounts to 30,000, amounts to 50,000, you're sure if you're paid 1 shilling less, you will be going, quote unquote, on a loss, as in you will be spending more than what they are getting you. From there, then there's the value that you're bringing in. How do you quantify the kind of value that you're bringing in? Do you have justifiable figures in terms of, in the industry, how much are people in that position paid? Have you done your research? Do you have an idea in terms of this company, how does it pay? Do you have those reviews from Glassdoor? And then all that, because it's, people don't talk about their salary openly. I am yet to see someone who says, yes, I work here and this is what I'm paid, and that is public knowledge. Very hard, unless from government offices where they will say job group this, they pay between this and this. So those are some of the factors that you need to consider. And then when it comes to the interview and that question pops up, so I've done my maths, I know the minimum to live for my family, my school fees, is all adding up to about 80,000. And of course I have other obligations. So I'm comfortable if I'm paid about 100,000. So I will be in that interview and say, I'll be comfortable if I'm given on average of 100,000 or between 100,000 and 10,000 based on the value that I'm bringing in. Of course, now you are touching the value based on the experience that I have. I will be able to assist you to do this and this. Then pose it quote unquote as a question so that you can show that this figure that you have said, it's not casted on stone. But I will also be very open to know how much are you paying for this position and see if we can come to a common ground and a much better way of, we can negotiate and come to a figure that will be beneficial to both of us. I feel that I'm getting value of what I'm bringing in, and at the same time, the company is in a position to pay that. So how you present that in an interview shows that you're very confident about your value. You're very confident about talking about money. And at the same time, we will not be having issues of not performing or underperformance just because we did not get off right from the salary perspective. So that is something that you can be able to use. When it comes, tell us about yourself. This will be number one question in 99.99% of the interviews that you attend, and how you answer the question sets up the stage for the rest. I advise people to talk about, try as much as possible to be very professional, talk about your qualification, talk about your experience based on this position. And this is what I advise my clients, and is the game changer. As much as you've said, I've gone to school, I've done this course, I've worked in company ABCD as this position and this. The last bit is, how do you connect your experience, your qualification to this position? So saying, I believe that I'm the best candidate because I saw you're looking for someone who can do this and this. I have done that before in this company, and I will be in a better position to continue, blah, 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 blah. So you are changing the story from tell us about yourself. Of course, you've told them about yourself, but again, you have twisted the question and you've started answering why you're the best candidate for that position. I think I saw another question here, and I can see time is really moving fast. You're already past the first 1 hour, but it's okay. Dorcas saying, true, Glassdoor is a very good place to get to know the culture of the company. I appreciate that. I think there was a question here. This great insight. If you get a job doing something you didn't take in college and you want to change the job to what you studied, how do you go about it? That is as what? And then he also asks, how do you negotiate about pushing interview dates and time? And then Jerry saying, thank you very much. Okay, I think those are the last two questions that we will take. When you are doing a job that you didn't study for and you want to go back to what you studied for, how do you go about that? And secondly, how do you negotiate interview date and time? I think I'll respond to that one last, then we can be able to close it up. It is very difficult when you get an interview date and time. Of course, sometimes you find that you might not be able to attend. It is okay to try and contact them in advance or immediately tell them, this is the situation, I might not be able to get there, would you push it? But that does not necessarily mean that they are obligated to do that. Some companies, they have a schedule, they know that they need to do their interviews today and tomorrow, they finish, they decide who it is and someone gets the job to start. So it is a very tight situation, but it's of course very important for you to try, but that does not mean that they are obligated to respond or to turn into your favor. But it's better to do that rather than they are expecting you and then you don't show up, because at some point you realize even when they do all the interviews, they still find that they didn't get the best fit. If you had requested for another date, they might still come back to you. When you have studied for something totally different and you got a job in another area, I've seen people, maybe they have done business management, then they ended up in sales, they want to go back. So how do you do that? There are some transferable skills in every job that you do. So think about whatever job you're doing and whatever you studied. What are some of the transferable skills that you can be able to get? If you want to get back to that area, think about also how do you volunteer? How do you do some part-time job in that area, even if you're not being paid, just to get that experience and to use that and leverage it when you're looking for a job in that area that you studied for. So those are the different ways that you can be able to try and handle that. I don't know if there's anything else, Terry, you can mention about that. Hoping I have answered all the questions that are on the chat.
Yeah, I think that's it. And maybe if just commenting about that, you might have studied something because your parents wanted you to study it, and it was not in an area of your passion. And so now you have a job and really it's not connecting with what you studied. Or it's the other way around. You studied something, but you got a job that is not in line with really what you really want. So you can do online courses that will give you the room. If there is an area of passion that you would like to get into and it's not what you did in university, but you want to look for a job in that area, either do an online course or go back to school, do a diploma or a short course in that area of passion that you'd want to move into, so that you're not just doing a job just for the sake of the money, but it's really in your area of passion and you enjoy it. Then that's where you can really add value to the company or to the organization. Yeah, so maybe an action from this, I would say, put down your plan together. Where do you want to be in the next 1, 2, 3 years or 5 years? Where do you see yourself? What are the things you would like to get into? As much as we are in the current situation we are in, whether you're looking for a job or or you already have one. It's good to have a goal plan and just focus on that and work towards that, even as you're engaging in a job search. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining. For those of you who came, really, we are so grateful that we had this opportunity. Over to you, Daniel.
I really appreciate that. I think, thank you, each one of you. I can see that you have been able to stick with us through the whole hour. I hope that you have found value in this session. I want to say, feel free to get in touch with me. I've just posted my email in the chat. My email is daniel@careerpoint.co.ke. You have any question, I'll be able to assist you. And in my company, Careerpoint Solutions, we also do free CV reviews. So you can be able to send me your CV for a free review. Just go to www.careerpoints.co.ke/CV review. I just thought I can put it down there. And something else I've seen, I've heard Terry talking much about online courses, and it is in these times that actually I wrote yesterday on LinkedIn that saying that at this point, some of the things that will change post COVID 2019, online learning will be taken as the new standard rather than a second class kind of learning. So even at Careerpoint Solutions, we have some online courses that we offer that really assist people to be able to get into NGOs and international organizations. I know Terry works in that area, and some of the key qualifications that people get value from is we have a certification course in project management, we have another one in project monitoring and evaluation, we have fundraising and resource mobilization, and we have another course on strategic management and leadership. So these are just, again, opportunities for you to be able to grow and increase your capability. Have that plan. Say, this is where I want to go, even personally, not even without waiting for the interviewer to ask you where do you see yourself in 5 years. But when you have that plan, it will guide you on how you can be able to proceed. So thank you very much. I can see also Terry, she has shared her email. If you need her assistance, reach to her, terryshiundu@gmail.com. I can see Dorcas saying, thank you for the presentation. Okay, Edna is asking for mobile number. Drop me an email, I'll give you my phone number. Or I can, probably you will get in touch with me. And as we finish up, I like asking, now that all of us have been here for the last 1 hour, just please type in the comment, what is the one key takeaway that you have gotten from this session? I can see people saying, thank you very much. That is Edna. I can see Jerry saying, kudos, nice presentation. But I would just also want to know, what is the key takeaway that you have taken from this session? Leave it in the comments. It will take a few minutes as I will be reading them. Jerry talking about the goal plan, because it is this. From research, it is said it takes about 24 hours. If you learn something, within the next 24 hours, you should take an action on it. Because after 24 hours, you taking action on it later on, chances go way down. So I would want you first to articulate it. What is it that you have gotten, your key takeaway? And then hopefully you do something about it in the next 24 hours. I can see Edna saying, I like the idea of where high school students can get a volunteer opportunity. Thank you, Stephen Ochieng saying, amazing. Edna, I find it interesting that only 2% of the candidates make it through the interview. Yeah, it is that small. So how do you step out? That is great. I think that is it. I really appreciate. Terry, this is a great opportunity that we have created and we have shared value. We should be doing this more often, right?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you for hosting us. I have enjoyed myself.
Okay. I can see Dorcas talking about never use the same cover letter for application. Apply to your what your interests are, and B will be take about you can be willing to take a salary cut. Yeah, that is great. I don't know. I didn't know that getting a regret is a privilege. Yes, so many companies don't give the regrets. I can see Alice taking my take is valuable addition to the CV. Yeah, send your CV. You can do a free CV review for you. Key takeaway for Sylvia: follow your passion despite salary cut. I can see Esther saying goal planning is key. I think we did our job. we did not waste time. People got value out of this. We'll be doing more often. So check out on the different platform. Terry runs a group, jobs and internships in Kenya. Check out if you are a member of that group, and then you'll be able to get value. Last words, Terry, then we can close the meeting.
Yes, thank you all. Remember your value proposition, have a value proposition, what you will give, and then your goal planning is key. Thank you so much. I have enjoyed myself. We should definitely do this again. Daniel, we should definitely do it again. So the Jobs and Internships Kenya group is on Facebook. If you could kindly request to join, it's not on WhatsApp. I don't run it on WhatsApp or Telegram. You can join on Facebook, Jobs and Internships Kenya. And I'll add you in. I update it as often as possible with different job opportunities, sharing different opportunities even for internships, for scholarships. So please join, and yeah, let's keep interacting. Thank you.
This has been great, and we'll see you next time. Look out for the poster. We'll let you know when we will be having this session. Bye-bye. If you like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel and press that bell button so that you can know each and every time we produce such valuable information for you to grow in your career.